Hi everyone and welcome to a new episode of Day's Podcast along with a new video. I know it's been a while, but I had recently just put out some new episodes, so I thank you so much for watching, viewing, listening, subscribing, and just being there. I truly appreciate it. I want to talk about an artist I haven't talked about yet and their debut album. So as far as with Patreon and Spotify, bear with me. We will have exclusive episodes and videos on there. So be sure to look at what is there, if anything. But yes, we are going to talk about Britney Spears' Baby One More Time. So let's look at it. So Baby One More Time is the debut studio album by American singer Britney Spears. It was released on January 12, 1999 by Jive Records. Spears had been a child performer on the all-new Mickey Mouse Club from 1993 to 1994 and was looking to expand her career as a teenage singer. After being turned away by several record companies, Spears signed with Jive for a that is what it became. Okay. For a multi-album deal in 1997. She traveled to Sweden to collaborate with producers Max Martin and Rami Yakub, who had been writing songs with producer Dennis Pop and others for Baby One More Time. Their collaboration created a pop, bubblegum pop, dance pop, and teen pop record, with Spears later saying that she felt excited when she heard it and knew it was going to be a hit record. The album was completed in June 1998. So, let's start by saying that, it was recorded in the summer of 1997, was done by June 1998. In the midst of this time, you have literally the Spice Girls just going all the way off, and then Jerry just sadly, abruptly leaving by the time that, she's done recording this album. And then, of course you had The Boy Is Mine with Brandy and Monica. You had what was going on in 1998. A lot of stars at that time was touring, but still releasing albums. So of course, we had Janet, and Brandy had actually just released Never Say Never on June of 1998, as opposed to Monica, which was July of 1998. But I gotta say, there was a lot of movies that were coming out too. Like, there was so much coming out in the late 90s that it was almost as if, if you really, really got it, we will pay attention to you type thing. Because everything was just so quick. And still to this day, being a 90s baby, I'm just like, wow, so things are so different now. But, as far as with Britney, there were peers that she herself was making aware that she was wishing the best for her, wanting to be able to showcase herself all around. Because there was a lot of teen girls just coming out in groups, that were just coming out by the late 90s. And she stood out in her own way, literally. Upon its release, Baby One More Time garnered mixed reviews from music critics, with many praising its commercial appeal but deeming it silly and premature. So yeah, they felt as though if this is 1999, if she was going to be going on 18, so she just turned 17 when this was released, because she was born in December. So working on the album, she had to have been maybe 15, 16. So it's just, to me, you guys know how I give it up. I'm not gonna just be looking at an album and just being like, all right, so it's giving this, it's giving that. I'm gonna know. I'm dissecting and observing. All right, so how old were they? What were they feeling? What is their background? Like, I want to be able to get into the artist, okay? Like, and some critics, they just, oh, I hear this and this is what I think, and it's just, I would dig a little bit deeper than just that, okay? Despite its initial mixed reception, it helped Spears receive a nomination for Best New Artist at the 42nd Annual Grammy Awards in 2000. Okay, Grammy nominated already. All right. Retrospectively, it has been hailed for its major impact on pop culture, citing it as one of the most influential pop records of all time. A massive global commercial success, it made Spears the fifth artist under the age of 18 to top the US Billboard 200. It has been certified 14 times platinum, diamond, by the Recording Academy. Spears' best-selling album, it has sold over 25 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling albums of all time, as well as the best-selling debut album by a teenage female artist. Okay, so let me just read that one more time. So yes, it has sold over 25 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling albums of all time. Okay, we know that. But this album is the best-selling debut album by a teenage female artist. That's a big deal. Despite mixed reviews, you know, Baby One More Time produced 5 singles. The lead single, Baby One More Time, brought Spears tremendous global success, reaching #1 in most countries it charted in and becoming one of the best-selling physical singles of all time. In 2020, it was named the greatest debut single of all time by Rolling Stone. Subsequent singles, Sometimes and Born to Make You Happy, peaked within the top 10 in most international countries, while You Drive Me Crazy became Spears' second US Billboard Hot 100 top 10 hit. Spears heavily promoted the album through interviews and televised performances. Furthermore, she embarked on her first headlining concert tour entitled Baby One More Time Tour, and later continued with You Drive Me Crazy Tour. Okay, so she had 2 different tours, but in promotion of the same album, I believe. Yeah. So, yeah, the You Drive Me Crazy tour was the second concert tour launched in support of her first and second studio albums. So, okay, listen. And that's the way to go. And I've noticed that artists are now peeking into doing that again, and not just promoting one particular project. It's like, no, this is a tour where, hey, I'm back. Y'all know this song and y'all know this song, like, you know, and that's good. Yeah, she worked with different producers. Oh, wait a minute. So, let me go back and read where he sent Spears an unused song from Toni Braxton. She rehearsed for a week and recorded in a studio with an audio engineer. Spears traveled from her hometown, Kentwood, Louisiana. Okay, so she's a Southern girl. To New York City with the demo and met executives from 4 labels, returning to Kentwood the same day. 3 rejected her, arguing audiences wanted pop bands such as the Backstreet Boys and the Spice Girls, and there wasn't going to be another Madonna, another Debbie Gibson, or another Tiffany. And yeah, see, and I read that for a reason, because there was just, I said this because I was putting out a lot of episodes, I would say back to back, but consistently, where I was talking more on the R&B side of music. And so it was no different with pop. And I said, even in those videos where it was like, no, this was all around genres. Like, critics would just mean, period. Like, oh, you know, we don't need this. But critics, labels alike, were just like, you know, we're not sure. I don't know. I mean, even if he was to give us more money to consider it, I mean, I don't know. What else can they do? Okay, like, but mind you, I mean, being independent now it's a bit more resourceful. But back in the day, that was a lot. But you know, she did not give up, And when she was able to release the album, promotion began for Baby One More Time in May 1998. When Spears performed Baby One More Time sometimes, and You Got It All at the Singapore Jazz Festival. So she was already, starting to sing some of the songs and most notable songs, if anything, already before the album was released in January. But yeah, she, of course, was at the Kids' Choice Awards, the Rosie O'Donnell Show. She appeared on all that. There was all different things that Britney was doing in the late 90s. And even in the 2000s that, I honestly just feel like y'all wasn't really giving her enough credit. It was giving enough credit, but it wasn't giving. And, Michael Jackson even said it. Like, he loved her. He loved Britney. He loved Beyonce, too. Michael Jackson loved a good amount of artists, and he also felt a lot of artists may needed work. Okay? That was his opinion. But, and I didn't disagree with really most, if not really anything he had to say. Because, I look at certain things and I'm like, you know what? He ain't lying here. But, and she did perform for him as far as for his 30th anniversary. Like, she was there. she was on stage with him. The way you make me feel. But yes. But yeah, the critical reception, it was mixed reviews. And, they just felt as though, she's a teen girl, and is she going to be able to be a role model? And as opposed to those being like, she's such a role model, and, it just feels like she's just safe. And that was the thing. Adults were peeking into music with their children as opposed to peeking with the music and not trying to have children not listen to music that shouldn't have been listened to. Like, this was an album, or even just there were songs that were age appropriate. Though, when you look at other songs that, may have peaked just as high, that is not age appropriate, But that's all around, okay? There was all types of music out at that time. But, yeah. She won a Teen Choice Awards. I think. Yeah, she won Choice Music for the album Baby One More Time. She won a Teen Choice Award. Billboard Artist of the Year, she won that for 1999. Guinness World Record, best-selling album in the U.S. by a female artist. Okay. Wait a minute. Best-selling album by a teenage solo artist. Okay, and that was by 2003 when they said that. So, but she did her thing, and it debuted atop the Canadian chart, spent 9 non-consecutive weeks on the chart, and wait a minute, hold on, I see some record-breaking things here. Wait a minute. Sorry, y'all. I have to read this. In the United States, Baby One More Time debuted atop the Billboard 200 with sales of 121,000 copies in its first week, beating DMX's Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. Okay, so I believe this album came out, the DMX's album. So I will be talking about DMX as well. I don't know. Oh, yeah, so it, okay. There we go. So DMX, this is how legendary rap and pop was in this moment here, because DMX debuted at #1 with his second album, which we will talk about. I'm already giving a preview, but we will talk about it. And it stayed at #1 for 3 consecutive weeks until Baby One More Time came out. Okay? So, legends on legend going on. God rest his soul. But yeah, rest in peace to him. But yeah, Spears broke several records by doing so. The singer became the first female. The singer became the first new female artist to have a #1 single on the Billboard Hot 100 and #1 album on the Billboard 200 at the same time. The first new artist, male or female, to have a single go to the #1 spot the same week that the album debuted at #1, and the first new female artist to have the first single and first album at #1 the same week. So this is my thing, and this is me being very fair here. It took a Britney Spears and other artists in around this time, before her time, for people that we have now that are able to see the metrics of, okay, this is a personal project, or this is all right, we need to push this era project. But either way, the way people are being able to create albums now, and where they're just dropping the album, they're not even like, you would look at the sense of, this is just a link, and they're just showing us to pre-save this. No, this is an album. Okay, but yeah, it's just the way things have shifted now. Spears is also the youngest female in Billboard history to have a simultaneous. That's sorry, y'all. Simultaneous. There it is. Single and album at #1 in the same week, and became the 5th artist under the age of 18 to top the Billboard 200. And soon after, Miley was doing that. And that's why Miley idolized her so much. After fluctuating within the top 5, the album went back to the summit in its 4th week, and it sold over 500,000 copies within its first month, according to the Nielsen SoundScan. Its 5th week became the album's highest-selling week, with 229,000 copies sold, bringing the total of 804,000 copies. Baby One More Time spent a total of 6 non-consecutive weeks at #1 and sold over 1.8 million copies in the U.S. within its first 2 months. In its 47th week on the Billboard 200, the album held strong at #3, reaching the 10 million sales mark in the country. Okay, the album was certified diamond by the Recording Academy on December 9th, 1999, making the then 18-year-old Spears the youngest artist to receive that certification, breaking the record held by Alanis Morissette, who was 21 when her album Jagged Little Pill, 1995, was certified diamond. It became the 14th album since 1991 to sell over 10 million copies in the U.S., and Spears became the best-selling female artist of 1999. Baby One More Time spent a total of 51 weeks within the top 10 on the Billboard 200. It was the second best-selling album of 1999 in the U.S., only behind Millennium by the Backstreet Boys. Okay, the Backstreet Boys. Oh yeah, and we will talk about them too. So we will. The album has spent a total of 103 weeks on the Billboard 200. Baby One More Time landed at #3 on BMG Music Club's all-time bestsellers list, selling 1.6 million units through the club. As of May 2020, it has sold 10.7 million copies in the U.S., according to Nielsen Scan. With with the BMG Music Club sales bring its total to 12.3 million units. Just legend. But yeah. So Spears was the forefront of the female teen pop explosion starting in 1999 and extending through the 2000s, leading the pack of Christina Aguilera, Jessica Simpson, and Mandy Moore. So while it was those four that was going off at the time before 2001, you know, people were seeing Aaliyah, Brandy, Monica as R&B, like the main girls among female groups, okay, R&B groups, because when you have a Toni Braxton and a Mariah Carey and a Janet Jackson, and they were more or less adults, and you know, as far as teen R&B women, those were the three. But all of these performers had been developing material in 1988, but the market changed dramatically in December 1988 when Spears' debut single and video were charting highly. Yes, so RCA Records signed Aguilera and rushed her debut single to capitalize on Spears' success, producing the hit single Genie in a Bottle in May 1999 and Aguilera's eponymous debut studio album in August. So yeah, you had Baby One More Time, and then Christina with her debut self-titled album by that August. So the girls were out, okay? Aguilera's album sold millions, but not as many as Baby One More Time, okay? Simpson consciously molded her persona as more mature than Spears. Her single, I Wanna Love You Forever, charted in September 1999, and her album, Sweet Kisses, followed shortly after. Moore's first single, Candy, hit the airwaves a month before Simpson's single, but it did not perform as well on the charts. Moore was often seen as less accomplished than Spears and the others, coming in fourth of the pop princesses. Fueling media stories about their competition for first place, Spears and Aguilera traded barbs, but also compliments through the 2000s. And I wanted to speak on that too, because I will be talking about Christina Aguilera, and we are going to actually talk about the track list. So, yeah, it was the four of them, and, you know, Britney came out first, and you have Christina Aguilera, who was also flourishing, and they're both Sagittariuses, and they're both born in December. So it's just like, it's like looking not even necessarily in the mirror, but just like, oh my God, like they're not similar, but their personalities are, you know, they go up and down, you know, they happy, and then they not about something, you know. But like most signs, that's just emotions. But as far as with just the fact that you know, there were stars that just were really hungry for stardom, and I can't say that any of these women weren't hungry. They wanted to be stars. They were, if anything, Christina and Britney were on the same show years prior, which already should say enough that they knew of each other. They knew that, all right, well, you know, it's good that, you know, we know each other from a sense of business, but, you know, outside of business, you know, I haven't really seen them interact too much, but I just know that they both did a lot. And even in their performance that they did with Madonna, it was just letting people know, like, you know, they making their money regardless. So let's look at the track list. Track 1 is Baby One More Time. Track 2 is You Drive Me Crazy. Track 3 is Sometimes. Track 4 is Soda Pop. Track 5, Born to Make You Happy. Track 6, From the Bottom of My Broken Heart. Track 7, I will be there. Track 8, I will still love you with John Phillip. Track 9, thinking about you. Track 10, email my heart. Track 11, the beat goes on. And then the international edition has track 9, being deep in my heart. Track 10, thinking about you. Track 11, email my heart. And then track 12, the beat goes on. Then there's I'll Never Stop Loving You as an Asian edition bonus track. And then there's Autumn Goodbye. So, and then there's also I'm So Curious, which I've never heard before. But yeah, you guys, this was a really well-received album. And, you know, of course, she had came out with her second album, which took it a step further. But we will talk about more, if anything. And I thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and I'll be back with more.